Hello, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of VCTV. So, the Venture Capital TV is a platform from LATOKEN, as we all know, and it's a platform where we connect investors with entrepreneurs, speakers from different topics to cover. And today is a very interesting topic we're going to discuss on this platform. It's about NFTs, and not just that, but NFTs in Asia. Okay. So we have some special guests who are going to share their insights about the rise of NFTs and what made them to rise in 2020 and beginning of 2021. So yeah, let's just have a quick round of intro of our guests. Over to our guests now. Great. Okay. So before I start a quick round of intro of the guest speakers today, let me just introduce myself. So basically, I'm the regional director. My name is Sunny, and I host VCTV every day, Monday to Friday. And I'm always excited to speak with new speakers, existing speakers every day. Great. Let's have a quick round of intro now. I'm going to start with Robbie. Hi, Robbie. Welcome back on VCTV. This is the first time on VCTV Asia. We're in the same time zone, right? How are you? Can you hear me, Robbie?
Oh, hi. Sorry, my internet cut out just for a second. Hi. So I'm Robbie Young. I'm the CEO of Animoca Brands. We are a Hong Kong headquartered global game studio. We're in, I think four continents by now, maybe five. And I think we've been focused on blockchain gaming for the last 3 years. And I think we're best known for several of our titles like Formula One Delta Time, MotoGP Ignition, and also the Sandbox. And we specialize, I think, in working with licensed IP. We're the largest licensee in gaming, and we are, I guess, relatively well known now in the blockchain gaming space because having been here for 3 years, that's considered a very long time in this very young industry. So definitely happy to be here today and talking about NFTs.
Absolutely, Robbie. It's considered a long time. I've been in crypto space and LATOKEN since 2017. So yes, I know how it feels. Okay, great. Next speaker we have is Kingsley Kobayashi. Hi, Kingsley. Welcome back again to another episode. I feel like I see and meet and speak every day with you.
Hello, Sonny. How are you?
I'm great. You're having a great time. Great weather back in Japan.
Yes, your energy is contagious, and I love it. Your energy is just like, let's make this happen, and that is beautiful. I've been having a beautiful day. You saw my Facebook. I've been having a good time today, so I'm happy actually. The weather is good, just relaxing in the backyard and things like that. Well, my name is Kingsley Kobayashi. I am the founder of Kobayashi Group and CEO. I'm a serial entrepreneur, turnaround expert. I invest in the blockchain space, in traditional finance and startups and new technology. It's a pleasure to be here to be speaking about NFTs, which is a new, it's not really new, but the awareness is coming up right now and we're looking into it. Pleasure to be speaking with Robbie, Anthony, and as always, Gary, my fellow village guy.
The countryside. The countryside is missing now. I don't know where is he gone. I don't see him here. But anyways, he'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Probably internet connection or something like that.
Yes, I think internet is playing up everywhere. Like my internet was playing up before I just went live. But anyways, it's good that we're all back here on VCTV. Anthony, long time. Good to have you back. Are you back in Singapore? Are you still in Australia?
No. I'm still in Sydney, yeah. Can't really travel. If I get out of Australia, I can't come back.
Anyway, understood.
We are traditional investors, family office, and mainly investing in the traditional space. At first, we're starting to look into and invest into blockchain-related investment and DeFi especially. and recently starting to study NFTs, and there are a lot of developments, not just in Asia, but globally as well. And of course, we read a lot of news about NFTs, and a lot of people are cashing in. We can talk about it later. So for us, really, we are very excited in this space, the digital space, because it's a new frontier. And recently, we've invested into certain DeFi investment, as well as clearinghouse related. Basically, in the financial world, clearing is one of the major function of interbank settlements and clearing. So right now in the DeFi space is very disparate, and if anyone, I mean, I'm sure all of us have experience trying to make transactions in Uniswap or any of the DEX.
Yeah.
It's not the most user-friendly, and it's not the easiest, and it's not the cheapest in terms of transaction as well. So it's a great development in this space, but today we're not talking about DeFi. So, but yeah, I'll touch a bit how to link that into the NFT space later on. Yep.
Perfect. Anthony, good to know that you're exploring NFT as a option to invest into. So that's what we would like to hear more about from you later in the show. Thank you so much and welcome back. Gary, got you back. How are you,
I'm
Gary?
Back. Sounds like a movie. I'm back.
I'm back.
Honey, I'm home.
Exactly. That's more like it.
I love that movie. I mean, that movie really scared me when I watched it. Anyhow, my name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've done 17 companies, and I love artificial intelligence and quantum computing. I've had 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team with Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion about 28 months ago now. And also Eva.ai, a premier AI HR tech company that I founded by Dr. David Yang in Palo Alto, California, 5 years ago. I'm the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, premier AI quantum venture studio located in Santa Clara. We go around the world looking for the best AI and quantum companies from Africa, from Asia, Australia, Latin America, wherever they are. We curate them, and we bring them to Silicon Valley, using Silicon Valley as a port to the rest of the world. So it's great to be here.
Same here, Gary. You're part of the family. You're the core member of the family, and always great to have you back on VCTV.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, yes, we're going to talk about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, for those of you who may not know, the viewers. So we're going to talk about NFT-focused Asia, but we obviously can cover the global insights as well, global trends as well, what's happening globally in the space. So Q1 of 2021 this year saw NFT explode in popularity, with total market cap reaching about 27.9 billion on 1st of April. On OpenSea and Rarible, 2 leading NFT marketplaces, trading volume surged to about 187 million in March. So sports, gaming, collectibles, metaverses, or shared virtual space are the 4 major NFT categories. So just let's talk about deep dive into NFTs. What is NFTs? Are they crypto? Are they tokenized assets? Are they digital assets? What are they? Let's just hear it from our speakers today, who have deep expertise in the space, especially Animoca brands. I'm going to start with Robbie with that.
Sure.
Hi, Robbie. Let's start with you. Let's just start with some foundational, some basics about NFTs. What are NFTs, basically? What are they used for?
So an NFT is a non-fungible token, and what that means is that, unlike a fungible token, which most people are probably familiar with by like ERC20 type tokens, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum that they're familiar with as asset tokens, a non-fungible token is unique, and so it has the ability to differentiate through the information on the blockchain each token from one another. And that's interesting because when you start to ascribe uniqueness to tokens, that means you can also have rarity. And when you have rarity, that has import for things like artwork, which has been very popular as a form of NFTs. And it's interesting for gaming, which is what we focus on. Because if you think about gaming, you buy lots of stuff, virtual items in games. You might buy cars in a driving game or swords in a battle game. And there are always different categories of things you can buy in a game. There might be an ordinary sword that you can use every day to go and fight battles with. And there might be a very special rare sword that you have to play for hours and hours and months to be able to earn this super rare sword. Now with NFTs, we can actually tokenize those in-game assets as NFTs so that that sword, is a token. It's a non-fungible token. That has a very big sort of weight in a game because by tokenizing it, we allow the users and the players to then own those assets. We're essentially creating property rights for digital assets in games and for other uses too. But we like to focus on games ourselves. And this means that the users can then have those permissionless assets to use inside the game, but they can also possess them outside the game. And this is very different to traditional gaming, where games have always been walled garden rental economies, essentially. But by tokenizing the assets in a game, a player can then bring their stuff out of the game and trade it with other players on a marketplace, like you said, like OpenSea, for example, or sell it. And that's very different because if you're playing, say, I'll pick Fortnite because it's a very, very popular game. And a lot of players love to trade skins and own skins in Fortnite, which allow them to personalize and customize their characters. But you can't take your skins out of Fortnite and trade them with people on eBay or in some other marketplace because you need the permission of Epic, the developer, to be able to do anything outside of the game. It must remain inside the game. But blockchain gaming is different because once everything is an NFT, then actually the power transfers to the owners of those items. So that's completely different. And that's I think, the beginning of the revolution, so to speak.
Absolutely, totally agree. And thank you so much, Robbie, for explaining that so nicely, the difference between fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens to start with. Excellent, thank you so much. Next, I have Kingsley, who is just waiting to share his insights eagerly.
No. Sorry. I'm Robbie covered a lot of the factors or a lot of the points of NFTs, so there's no need to go back there. NFTs were Bitcoin 2.0. So a lot of people don't know that it has been around for a long time. They just see the bubble in 2020, 2021, and they're like, oh, this is a new thing on the blockchain. No, it has been around since 2012, 2011. And a lot of people have not paid attention to it. It only came up where people sold the art for $69 million, and people are like, oh, we can make money from this. It has always been around, but the pandemic, the COVID-19 has given rise to approaching out of the box on how they can make money. And they have seen that they can put their wares out there, their memes, their songs, their artwork out there to be sold legitimately and have value for it. And if they resell it, you keep a percentage, like you said. So this is a very good chance for people who are talented to make money from that talent. It's not about you sharing it for free anymore. You're actually making money of what you put out there. So at the long run, it's going to be what people are going to be looking at.
Right. Great. There's some great points there as well. So another channel and the way to make money for artists and musicians. I'm going to come to that topic a little later. Gary, over to you again. What as for you, what is NFT? Are they still a cryptocurrency, or they're different from cryptocurrencies?
Yeah. I mean, that's so Bitcoin, Sunny, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency platforms introduced the technology, which is interoperability and division of fungible tokens. Well, NFTs are the opposite. They hold specific information in their smart contracts, which sets them apart from other NFTs. And it means that they are indivisible and cannot be directly replaced like no other NFTs are like. And you think about it, I mean, what's the challenge with art? So this is absolutely perfect case for digital art, which in the past people talk about, they don't understand the value of it. They don't understand It could be easily replicated or acquired via screenshot. So, but doing so, really, you're just taking a picture of a piece of artwork, the Mona Lisa in Paris. You're going to the art store, picking it up and hanging it on your wall. The image is exactly the same, but the authenticity and value is completely different. So NFTs have that authenticity built in. So the value of the original piece of art can be verified and even transferred to a new owner. So essentially, you're owning part of that valuable Mona Lisa. And so that's where the thing changes. So it becomes your part of it, not just copying it. And of course, you know, you got gaming, et cetera. We could get down through, but so for gaming and just about everybody else, NFTs really allow for unique ownership for things like accessories, event tickets, digital identity, avatars, you know, even real world assets. So it's just, you know, as we're going down through this digital transformation, we see it in front of us today with all the cryptocurrency changes. The people are really, mass society started to adapt the idea of NFTs and cryptocurrencies. We're open to those ideas through this digital transformation.
I think, Gary, you brought up a very good point. So I just would like to know, I'm just curious, if I own an NFT, do I really own the object it represents? Or maybe Gary,
Well, I mean,
or
that's the theory behind it, right?
yeah, okay.
You're a fractional owner. It's kind of like a timeshare. You know, do you really own a condo if you bought a timeshare?
Right.
So
Okay.
yes, is when you're there, you own it. So with the NFT, you own a fractional part of it, from my perspective.
Cool. Thank you so much, Gary, for sharing that. Anthony, over to you. Anything you'd like to add on
Sure.
about what are NFTs?
Personally, I just want to think that maybe the simplest form for people to visualize, it could be a digital collectible item, digital art, for example. I mean, even in the real world, right, we've got real art piece, right? But you can still duplicate them. I mean, I have an original Mona Lisa or whatever, right? But people can make multiple copies of it. But of course, the original item is more expensive. And then you've got multiple copies, and they can sell it for, you know, a few dollars or whatever, right? Reprints and all that. Just now, we mentioned about the unique, the rarity of it. Basically, using the blockchain technology, we're using a ledger to distributed ledger, we call it, right? To record sale, ownership, and the uniqueness of it. So it doesn't have to be fractional. It can be fractional, but it could be just a unique one single item as well. Of course, in the market, there are people who paid a few $100,000 for a pixelated image, and there are different people are placing different values on digital collectible items. And the other end of the spectrum, if you've heard of an app called VV app, where you can own collectible item like a DeLorean or Batman or Ultraman or whatever, is a collectible item, but it's digital, right? When I was a kid, I used to collect physical collectible item, right? But after a while, mother would have, just dispose of them. But now with the digital art, digital collectible item, you can keep everything in your phone, and you can look at it millions of times. You're still not bored with it. But one day, if you're bored with it, you can sell it, right? Because now with this digital marketplace, we are creating a new ecosystem, a new marketplace, where people can actually transact, right? So that it opens up the whole new way of looking at things. Eventually, I foresee this NFT market will go beyond the personal collectible item. Gary just now mentioned the gaming and all that. Once it gets out of the system, and people may not be playing that game, they may like that particular item, they may want to buy it in the open market, right? And when a certain item becomes so valuable, you may even use that as a collateral, maybe on a certain DeFi platform. You can use it as a collateral and borrow some money. Instead of selling it, why not I just use it like a normal collateral and get a loan out of it for 3 months and then pay it back with interest, for example. So you don't give away the ownership, but you use this item in a different way. So that's how I foresee how DeFi can work hand in hand with the NFT space.
I think that's a great point.
Sorry, I was just going to jump in here because Anthony has opened up a segue for me. So I'm going to jump in here, Anthony, which is that if you take our Formula One Delta Time game where players can buy and own Formula One cars, something that's really interesting that's happened recently is, I mentioned the fact that it's permissionless is very important because it gives players true digital ownership. And if you buy a Formula One car in our game, you can then go and take that car to NFTFi and pledge it as collateral for a DeFi loan. And the fascinating thing about that is not so much that, there's a financial service being provided collateralizing this game asset. I mean, that is cool, of course. But the thing that's revolutionary is that it's permissionless, meaning that NFTFi can provide that service for our players. And it had nothing to do with us. They never had to ask us permission. It literally has nothing to do with us any more than if I want to open up a car repair shop, I don't have to ask BMW or Volkswagen for permission to repair their cars. I can just open a repair shop because it's a permissionless asset. And now we have a digital version of that, which is going to be fascinating for digital economies.
Right. Awesome. Anthony and Robbie, yes, good to know about those insights about NFT use cases as well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Sonny, you can use, just to expand a little bit. I mean, Louis Vuitton is using, they're using NFTs for product authentication. So, think about it. Cultural tokens and unique merchandise like Terra Virtua, crypto collectibles such as crypto kitties, digital artwork, event tickets. There's all kind of domain names. I don't know if you know that, but domain names such as Unstoppable are now NFTs. And then you got the marketplaces like Open Bazaar, just a lot. It's expanding. The use cases are starting to expand. It's going to be quite interesting to see how far it goes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's why my next question, that brings to my next question. So why are people spending a lot of massive sums on NFTs? What's the ROI for them? If I buy NFT, be it games, be it any area like that we mentioned, gaming, sports, collectibles, what's in for me as an ROI? Robbie?
I think the reason people are spending a lot right now is driven by two factors. Firstly, because we're relatively early, and a key attribute of NFTs is provenance. Because all the information is written on chain, you know what the history of an item is. And that's actually quite interesting because on the one hand, it allows you verification and authenticity. On the other hand, history could also imply certain value attributes. If I buy an NFT that was owned by, if I buy a basketball card that was owned by Michael Jordan, it would show his wallet address that Michael Jordan used to own it on chain. So that would be part of the value proposition of that particular NFT, who's owned it before. And so that's really quite interesting. And then I think, so that ascribes value to it. And that's one of the reasons that I think right now we're seeing a little bit of a gold rush in NFTs because it's such early days that these are kind of Gen Zero projects. And so what will happen in future, I believe, is that people will find that a lot of these early projects, as we've seen with Larva Labs CryptoPunks, will be taken as being kind of symbolic of the early days of NFTs that you were around at the beginning. And so there will be status associated with the possession of those items. And that's what I think we've seen with CryptoPunks. So I think that there's a lot of people who are investing for status, which is just part of a cultural phenomenon. And then the second part is, I think there are a lot of people in crypto who have done very well for themselves. And so if you think about what NFTs cost in an ETH perspective rather than in a dollar perspective, then actually if you've been in crypto for a few years, it's not that much money.
Right. Okay. I think I like the latter point. Thank you, Robbie, for sharing those insights. Two great points. Why do people invest into NFTs? Thank you so much.
I mean, here's an example. Somebody, there's a very well-known crypto investor who spent 750,000 US dollars buying one of our Formula One cars.
Yeah.
But he actually didn't. He spent a quarter of that because ETH has quadrupled in price since he bought it. So it depends on how you look at it.
Right. Absolutely. Got it. Got that logic. Thank you, Robbie, for explaining that one nicely again. So, Kingsley, would you like to, because Kingsley is all about use cases, practical use cases. So let's just hear it from him as well.
I think it's purely about authenticity and it's traceability. When you have a product and you don't know the history, it becomes difficult to sell it. But because this is on blockchain, it is traceable. It has an address. You know where it's from. Let's take, for example, a bronze item from the Great Benin Empire. In the 12th century, is brought in as an NFT object, and you put it on smart contract and everything. Then the history behind it is right there. So you know the history, you know where it's coming from, you know who owns it. But why Apple rushing into it right now is because it's like the early ICO boom. When ICO came in, everybody went into it, not even knowing what it is. So the NFTs is another project on blockchain that has just come up now that everybody is willing to put their dollar into. So it would be wrong for anybody to not go into it because some of them will succeed, some of them will fail. But looking into it properly and saying, okay, this one has potential. You are holding onto it, and you hold onto it until you make double the money or triple the money, and then you sell it. And when you sell it, you also have a certain percentage left for you. Let's say you keep 10%, keep 20% for yourself, and you sell the rest. Then another thing that is very important that people are not looking at is how are these made? How are they created? How are they meted? What are you using? ERO 1155 or what are you using to make it? Which platform do you put it in? OpenSea? Is it another? We have a lot of things. So what you decide to put it on, how you decide to use it, is going to determine how you make your money. Those who put their money to Bitcoin, put their money to Ethereum, Ripple, or any other token, as the case may be, the value they are getting is different. So the value you're going to get from your NFTs are going to be different depending if you are investing in asset-backed NFTs that actually have value than just investing in empty space NFTs that promise you to do something later in life. It's better to have the card or have the gaming part of it, or to have the art itself, and then say, okay, what is the copyright infringement right here? People don't think about the copyright thing, right? There's a copyright. Okay, copyright. The guy that owns the actual object gets this percentage whenever it is sold. This can be added to the smart contracts and to the address for traceability and authentication. I think that's the most important part of NFTs when you are investing into it.
Absolutely, totally agree with that, Kingsley. Asset-backed NFTs always. Thank you so much, Gary.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting, Sonny. If you look at it, think about it. If we paint a picture, the art industry is at $1.7 trillion. Then you look at in Asia, you look at Singapore and Hong Kong. There's a huge percentage of millennial art collectors. And Robbie's right. There are a lot of people who have made a lot of money in crypto in the last couple of years. And they're a perfect demographic for NFTs. I mean, absolutely right on point. Another thing is gaming. Think about Japan, where Kingsley is. They're leading the way in pioneering the NFTs, like what is it called, My Crypto Heroes, and really that's a on-chain ownership and off-chain gameplay. So it's now now as we go down through it, the most important piece is that there's mass adoption. Paramount, Nike, Ubisoft, Formula One, as Robbie said, and the NBA. I mean, it started to move into mass adoption, and now the situation, you're starting to see other people. It's like fish. It's like chumming when I'm out in the ocean in the boat. The fish start coming in. They're coming in like crazy right now. So then you look at things like cultural tokens. Think about it, and all the things in entertainment that have taken place. Think about the collecting of music, animation, movie scenes, and your favorite brands, anime characters, Hollywood franchise, pop. It's just the use cases are just expanding and expanding, and I'm sure we're just at the beginning of where it is. And it's people that have been in crypto for a few years understand it, but people that have been in crypto for a short period of time and put a lot of money in and doubled or tripled their money also are interested in it. So there's an excellent opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gary, for sharing those insights as well. Next, I have Anthony.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think you guys have mentioned a lot of different use cases already. But in addition to NFT, I think there are people who are trying to combine it with augmented reality. Gucci is just trying to experiment with this. They just launched a $11.99 sneakers. Augmented reality sneakers, but you can't wear them, right? It's AR. Eventually, what's stopping them from making this unique?
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Anthony, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's going to be like I got my NFT underwear.
I mean, Gucci has always been crazy, right? So, I mean,
you got to
I'm
be
not
careful.
so
They don't
surprised.
go over the top with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, already you've got $10,000 sneakers that's on NFT. Some of them I'm not agreeable. It could be just jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, a lot of auction houses are jumping on NFTs, but you won't see every artist jumping. So there are people who are wary of this because it's still new, and some of the use cases are probably ridiculous, I would say, bordering, maybe dangerous, because if they were to somehow, if they didn't consult the lawyer and somehow this NFT becomes a security. For example, if you sell a certain NFT and this value of this NFT grows, and people, the company that sell this NFT use the proceeds to build more, maybe products, different types of products or so, that could very well fall into that security definition where you are really raising funds by issuing NFTs and all that. Then whatever the platform that is doing this, and if they're not regulated, they can get into trouble as well. So I think people need to be very careful about the legal aspect of this as well. Yeah, apart from that, I think I see in fashion, people are, jumping into this. Fashion brands are going into this. Race horses for $20,000, digital race horses, collectible race horses for $20,000. So yeah, I mean, people are willing to spend all kinds of money on collectible items.
Yeah, I think, Anthony, again, I think we had this debate internally within our company, like, is our NFTs security or utility? But you've got a point. If they are security tokens, that's where we have to be very careful with the regulations. So are NFTs regulated yet or not?
They don't need to be regulated if they are really, truly NFT and is unique, and it is not a security token. So basically it's different from a security token. But what I just mentioned just now is to be very careful to make sure that it is not used as an avenue for companies to raise funds. Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, well noted. For those platforms who are issuing NFTs, it's not used as an avenue to raise funds. Otherwise, it's considered securities, and that's when the regulations come into play. Thank you for that, Anthony. So now we spoke about artists and magicians as well. I mean, I see a lot of artists and magicians are using NFTs now to make money, right? So what advice do you have for them who want to issue their own NFTs? Robbie?
Sure. I think I don't actually see the process for artists. I mean, for musicians, it's slightly different because there have been so many different platforms for musicians to connect with consumers. I think for artists in particular, it's actually not that different than the traditional art world, meaning that artists still need to cultivate a fan base and a following in order for their work to have value, because of course it's all about supply and demand. And just because you make your art in the form of an NFT doesn't make your art any better than it was in another form. It just makes it easier to transfer across time and space and borders, and maybe involve a wider audience.
Right.
So I think the thing about art that is interesting is that if the blockchain can help you to provide provenance and authenticity to the artwork, it actually has a bigger implication for auction houses and gallery owners than it does for the artists themselves, because it allows them to go direct to consumer. The only problem with direct to consumer is you still need to find those consumers. So I think
Right.
gallery owners and auction houses will have a transformation process to undergo, because they know where the consumers are, and they need to figure out how to leverage those address books into providing a new kind of service for artists who want to distribute via NFTs.
Very good point. Very good point, Robbie. For artists, musicians, I mean, you still have to have your fan followings before you NFTized or whatever yourself your work.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you, Robbie. Uh, Kingsley, again, any further advice you
Yeah,
have?
thank you, Sonny. And Robbie, very good point. And it's all about scarcity, right? It's all about, like you said, demand and supply. I am kind of scared that the market is going to be overflooded with with every kind of stuff that people want to put as NFTs, because they don't actually understand what blockchain is trying to do with NFTs, right? So let me put in everything. I have the right to take pictures of my cat and put it there as an NFT. Gary have the right not to clone his dog anymore and take a picture and put it as an NFT, and it's there, and he has the right to sell it. So there's a lot of it is my thing that is going to happen there. So how do we control this? Right now, there's no regulation anywhere that is controlling non-fungible token. There's no regulation anywhere. I've searched for it, but sometimes we have to self-regulate so that we don't fall into what Brother Anthony said of going to raise on, and then it becomes security token. There's a fine line. I understand that the first tweet was for 2.9 million. What are you going to do with that? I don't know. What is it going to grow in future? I don't know. Are the Gen Zs, the younger generation, not going to buy that in future and for a higher price? I don't know. But the truth is, that is just a tweet.
Yeah.
It is not an object. It is a word. It is a few words written. The first tweet, or the first this, or you have a music, the first lyric, or this is not going to go on NFTs. Does that have the real value of what is being sold for?
Yeah.
Unlike you have a piece of art that you actually know this is a piece of art that was made by this famous person, and this is a piece of sculpture or an object or a design that is made, and it is there for you to see, but you actually have the address on it, you have the address on the blockchain, making it authentic. So these are different things, different aspects that we have to look at. Personally, I'll be looking into real artwork, real sculptures, real digital design, because what NFTs does is to authenticate it on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Now, before you have a picture and JPEG, okay, they stamp JPEG there, the JPEG picture, right? It's you're gonna pay a little bit for it to be able to use it. That is like what we are doing right here, but we are doing it on blockchain. So we authenticate it to make it valuable. The value of it is the authenticity, is the smart contract and the address behind it. So you cannot just bring anything and put it out there and think, oh, it's gonna make money. Yes, it may make money for someone who does not know the value of it, but will it make money longer on in life for others who are going to buy it? So we need to be very careful how we how we face this so that we don't fall into the ICO boom that there was a lot of ICO projects that just came, they raised money and then they faded out. That's my take on that. Just be careful.
Absolutely, be careful with every investment, be it NFTs, bitcoins, or everything else. I just heard one of our viewers saying hi to Robbie. Can we have that please again? Robbie, say hi back to you. Can we have the display? Can we have that on display, please, again? All right. Okay, Gary, over to you, please, with the same question.
What was the question again? I got distracted for a second.
So I think Robbie was right on point. I mean, obviously, you can't just NFTize yourself, being an artist with no fan following, and you expect that you're going to raise millions. It's just with everything else. You have to have your own community first. So again, what's your advice to musicians and artists? Because a lot of people are probably seeing NFT as a tool to raise quick money. It's just the ICO times where people were saying ICOs as quick money, right? So what advice do you have besides what Robbie and Kingsley just said?
I mean, the situation is that's we got to be careful. It's not the Dutch tulip phenomenon, right?
Right.
And so if they're going to come in, I would. So from my perspective, if they want to do it, just now you want to get in before the market gets too mature. So if they're going to do it, I would do it now. I would make sure that it would make it makes sense. There's some logic behind it. Just whenever you get into these new kind of areas, you got to make sure you got a sustainable business. Doesn't make sense. Are you the right kind of artist? And Kingsley's right. If you take a picture of a dog or a cat and put it out, I remember when the NFTs really started. My wife said, "Take a picture of the dog." She was joking around, of my basset hound, and I was like, "Are you nuts?" And she said, "Look, I told you. Look, I told you." And so, I mean, we got to be careful. There's irrational exuberance. So I think it's a great opportunity for musicians and artists to go out. Just make sure that you got some logic behind it, and that it makes sense, and find people that are advisors or consultants that really have the expertise to make sure that you can do it and help you set it up right, so you're not going against any laws or local regulations, and that it is a sustainable business. And that's it. I mean, it is interesting. It is this digital transformation is upon us. This is part of it. It's changed our lives. I mean, it's like right now with Ethereum, since we've been on the call, it's insane, right? How things are moving up. So we've got, it's a new world. It's the democratization of opportunity. All of us get to participate. It's not just for the rich. It used to be a Formula One car for wealthy people. They would put money in. Now the situation, I actually heard it wasn't last week, it was a month ago, a very wealthy person here in the States had not gotten into, I directly had a conversation with him, had not gotten into cryptocurrencies, and then started to really double down on it, and now he's made a fortune on Ethereum. So there are opportunities out there, and the millennials started it. I know my daughter is into NFTs and cryptocurrency. She's 25. It's like normal for her.
I think it's all the tokens are competing. Started with Bitcoin and then NFTs, now Ethereum. I mean,
Well, I mean, the thing is, you got to dive into what they're for, right? Look at what Ethereum, the difference between Ethereum and a Bitcoin. What are they for? What are these NFTs for? Not just because the value is going up. That's one part of it, right? That's an investment strategy. But what are they for? What debt in the universe are they going to have?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gary, for that. Anthony, over to you. Would you like to add on to something that others said?
Well, it's starting to feel like a gold rush in the NFT space, and spams, you receive emails and things like that. But nevertheless, I think artists would be wise to choose the right platform, maybe. Choose the right platform where they can be represented fairly as well. Be able to do a fair launch, for example. Most of them would have a certain following, right? But there are spammers or scammers who are using artists' work, or even using artists' reputation and created NFTs without their knowledge. There are, I wouldn't want to call it scam now, but I mean, this one is not NFT. I'm just giving you an example. For example, BitCloud, when they launch, they actually have created a lot of profiles of different celebrities or people who are famous, right? And then ask them to claim their profile and all that, right? So it could be in a similar vein that people are creating NFTs and without the permission of the artist, or using the artwork, for example. All kinds of things can happen in this space. We're in the middle of or start of the gold rush, I suppose. So just really be careful with that. Of course, on the other extreme is when people make money, just make sure you get your taxes, sorted out. Because when you convert this into fiat, and what happens, you get the attention of the Inland Revenue, and just make sure you do your records properly, and one fine day they will come to you.
That's 100%. And the other thing is there's rules around it when you convert it. So in the U.S., you have capital gains. If you hold something for X a period of time, and you got to hold it for 2 years before you pay up to 42% of capital gains tax. So you got to be careful that, make sure you look at all aspects of it, because if you start trading this stuff around, you could have enormous capital gains. So be careful. Absolutely. And then what happens if you start trading it and then it goes down, right? And, there's all kinds of, there's some scenarios you better think through.
Yeah. I think very rightly said, it's a platform, again, which is using your name as an artist or a musician, and BitCloud example is the best example that we can hear from you, Anthony. Thank you so much. So very, very careful. Everybody just said in the panel, you have to be extremely careful.
The other thing is, how do you really determine the price? How do you determine the price? How do you put value to this? How do you put value to what is being put on OpenSea or any other platform out there? Okay, it's worth $1 million, and or let's say it's worth $10, and then people have to bid on it, and a lot of forces is going to push it up or push it down or leave it at that price. You may get double the price. You may get triple the price. You may get 10 times what you were expecting. So what is the price? What is the price evaluation? Who does the authenticity? Okay, this thing is worth $10, but I can sell it for $1 million if I'm lucky, right? So if I'm lucky, that is the truth. So the pricing aspect of it has to be looked into. The value of the real art, the value of the real gaming character, or the value of the crypto kitty, or whatever you are trying to put out there, has to be specified. I don't think you just have to put it out there and then let people just bid, and then you have social media pushing it for you. You have other factors that are pushing it or bringing it up for you. So there has to be a kind of equalizer. So okay, it is between this price and this price. Not just put it out there. Okay, let people bid, and if they bid up to $10 million, they sell it for $10 million, and what? And the real value in the market is $1 million or even 100,000. So we already have a problem with the pricing here. So somebody buys it now, can the person sell it in 5 years? And like Gary said, you have holding tax for up to 40% or 35% to 51%, depending on the country, like Japan. So how do you pay this tax when the time comes? How do you make sure that you just have it hanging up there, or you don't have to resume of yourself, or what are you going to do? So pricing is a very important aspect to look at when we look at NFTs. What decides the market price? What is the market price? What is it supposed to be sold for? What is it being sold for? So a lot of factors need to be looked at before actually investing in NFTs. But it's a good thing to do right now.
Absolutely. So again, that's my next question. I mean, if I'm an art collector, for instance, like I've been collecting arts, physical arts. So obviously, I want to explore digital arts on NFTs. So what advice do you have for those collectors who like to purchase NFTs? Robbie, let's start with you.
Sure. I think the most important thing, like all art, is buy whatever you enjoy the look of. And first of all, I would say don't keep in mind. Don't. I wouldn't personally approach it from an investment standpoint, and I
Right.
wouldn't try to speculate on the future value of it. I think the most important thing is first when you're buying art is if you're going to put it on the wall and have to look at it every day, do I like it? And if I'm satisfied with that, then job done. And if it goes up in value, that's a great bonus. But I would say most important is spend what you can afford and make sure that you enjoy it because you're going to have to look at it.
Absolutely, very good. I think the two key points I took out. Just look at your spending power. That's very important. If you're going to invest into an NFT, and don't expect massive returns. Very rightly said. I think these are very key points. Again, anything you like to add here, Anthony?
Well, basically, I feel that it's a good opportunity for artists, musicians to really use this technology to expand the influence in that space. But personally, from a collector point of view, I want to make sure that I understand the value of this and the authenticity of this. I'll give you an example. When people saw this 5,000 days art, it was $69 million, right?
Okay.
And that made news headlines. And I think 2 weeks later, he actually sold another 5,000 days for just maybe 1 or 2 ETH or something like that, very low price. Somebody bought it.
Correct.
Yeah. And then he sold it on the marketplace. I look at, it's just 2 transactions. And then they stopped there. The last bid was just maybe a few $100s or something. They stopped there. So it goes to show that the copyright of that 5,000 days remain with people, right? The $69 million digital NFT that was bought belonged to Metacoven, for example, for that particular version, right? What is stopping people from creating, multiple? Yeah, nothing can stop him actually. In that sense, I am still not very sure how Metacoven can fully maximize the value that he paid, $69 million. And a few weeks later, there's another similar version that was sold for much lower amount. Right?
Lower value.
Yeah.
So I think on this point, I would say that it's actually not different from the traditional art world where, a lot of critics used to complain that Andy Warhol, for example, used to issue huge volumes of prints created by the factory, by all of his students and subordinates who worked for him, and that devalued the value of his artwork overall. And so I think managing that tension between supply and demand has been something that a lot of modern artists have always focused on because they're sensitive to the value of their art, and particularly this I know is true with some very famous mainland Chinese artists as well. So I think that what prevents, as you said, Anthony, nothing technically prevents people from deciding he wants to issue 5 more versions of the same thing, but there is economic tension that prevents him from doing so because he knows if he does that, then nobody will buy his artwork for face value again because he's undercut his own market. So I think that's the key.
Yeah, I think Robbie, you mentioned a very good point, but we just lost you for a few seconds. Can you repeat that? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So I was saying what keeps it in check is basically that if people were to issue multiple versions of the same thing, he would undercut his own market because then people wouldn't buy his artwork again because they would resent being treated like that. So I think there's always an economic tension just like with any artist of any type, keeping your fans happy means you need to treat them well.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a solid point why the value goes down for the second versions. Anthony, I think is comparable to the traditional market as well. I mean, that's the point. Anything you like to debate on that? Are you okay?
I'm okay. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. I was just asking. Kingsley, anything you'd like to add on for advice to collectors of NFTs? Are you yourself a collector?
Well, I am looking into this page. The truth is, what do you want and what do you need? Do you need it or do you want it? It's two different. It's two different aspects. When I want to buy art or anything, it's actually money I don't need, right? It has to be money I am willing to let go. This is my advice on investment. If you're investing in something and you are already thinking you're going to make 10 times more, you may be disappointed. But when you say, okay, I am putting this money I don't need right now, right here. If it works out, okay. If it doesn't work out, you are happy. But NFTs have the possibility of growing because during this pandemic, a lot of people are home. Musicians don't go out to perform anymore. Artists cannot
Yeah.
go out and do their exhibition. Uh, Poets can go can put out their and talk over there. But this is a platform, a new platform for people to exhibit their art, to exhibit
Yeah.
their songs, to exhibit their games, to exhibit whatever they're doing, and hopefully make money out of it. But at the same time, the buyers also have to be very careful and do their due diligence, just like in traditional finance or
Yeah.
traditional art buying. You have to make sure that it's authentic, is from here, from there. So once you do your homework, and I think it's a good investment for the future. Uh, I will personally put my money in the ones I think is good. But
Right.
I will do my due diligence very well before I put my money, and it's going to be the next boom because it's here. It's been around for a long time since 2012, but people have not heard about it until Beeple sold for $69 million, like Anthony said, and now everybody's like, "Hey, I want to be part of the game." So for entrepreneurs and startups or people who want to create those business, it is an opportunity. For those who are buying, it is a time to be careful and make research about what you are buying, so that you're not just buying my toilet roll that I wrote something about. Kobayashi toilet roll. This is good for me. You can use it. So, so you think about it before you do it. So
Sorry, I just got choked on that.
you'll probably make money from that.
Cool. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kingsley, for adding that on. For collectors, purchasers, you have to be exactly very careful. Do the due diligence properly before you buy any NFTs. So, Gary, would you like to add on to what just other speakers have just said here?
I mean, I think a lot of the points are covered. I just think it's a exciting time, and you need to make sure that you're not investing in something that you normally wouldn't invest in, and so make sure that it makes sense and it's interesting. If it's an artist or a musician or art that's interesting, I can see that. There's some things you got to just be careful because you don't want the bottom to fall out because you invested in something that makes zero sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for summarizing that, Gary, very nicely, very briefly as well. Perfect. Great. So 1 hour show gone by. It was so interesting that I couldn't obviously look at something else that was going here on the side as well. There's something else going on. But anyways, thank you so much for your contributions, all of you. Like Robbie for the first time on the Asia show. We're on the same time zone. You've just spoken with my colleague Kylie before. Good to have you on the Asia show as well. And hope to see you back again. Gary is always a part of the family. So is Kingsley and Anthony. Welcome back as well on VCTV. It's a little VCTV family that we are growing every day in terms of the family members and the viewers as well. So let's take some closing remarks for those people who are looking to collect, purchase, and also issue NFTs, and we'll wrap up the show. Robbie, closing remarks from you first. Thank you.
Sure. Well, of course, I'm gonna plug. If you're a sports fan and like Formula One, come and see us at F1 Delta time, or come to our metaverse at the Sandbox. But yeah, definitely. Or just go to OpenSea and browse stuff and see what you like, what interests you. I encourage everybody to participate because it's a lot of fun and it's different from traditional collecting. There's so much you can do with NFTs. So explore on your own.
All right, great points. Again, thank you so much, Robbie, for that. Closing remarks. Anthony, over to you, please.
Yes, for those who have not started the digital collection, I encourage you to go to iPhone App Store, for example, download the VV app. Then you can buy a Batman or Ultraman, like what I did. I have a VV app, but it's easy to use, and it's augmented reality, and it's fantastic. You can look at it all day.
All right, cool. That was a cool advice. Thank you so much, Anthony. Kingsley.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity. There are people who let opportunity pass them by. There are people who grab the opportunity and make use of it. This is a big opportunity for us to look into. It's going to be the next big thing out there, but we must tread carefully while we do that and make sure that we don't overstep our boundaries. But NFTs are definitely here to stay, and digital art is only going to grow now that it's come up in this pandemic period. The pandemic period is making people to stay at home. You cannot go out and view art or view anything. So if you're at home, you can actually download it, buy it online, view it, put it on your wall, whatever through and what's it called, interest spray and things like that, and you will actually enjoy it. So it's good, but tread carefully.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for those words, Kingsley. Last but not least, Gary, over to you.
Yeah, this has really given us a chance to democratize opportunity for investing and let everybody participate and share and feel like they have a part of the ownership of some incredible items, all incredible things. So it's really interesting time, and just be careful. As I said before, choose wisely. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Look into it, and don't get caught up in the irrational exuberance too much. So people can reach me, Gary Fowler, on LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm happy to talk to you. There's great opportunities. So stay safe, stay happy, and go get them.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kingsley, Anthony, Robbie, and Gary for your time and insights today. It was a lovely panel, and I hope to see you back again on another episode of VCTV soon. I'm back tomorrow again. Until then, stay safe, stay happy. As Gary says, stay happy all the time. Keep smiling and take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.